Hey, hello everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and maybe even good night. But if it's good night, please don't go to bed yet. Give us about 25, 30 minutes more of your time, depending on where you are in the world, and hang in there with us, right? And welcome you all to Conversations with Geoff. And I want to thank all those folks that have been out here supporting us along our journey. And for all of you that are new and going to meet us for the first time, welcome to the family, right? We are, man, so happy to be able to come in here and share people that we know that have a message of hope and promise and prosperity and achievement. And more importantly, man, they're very humble and they want to just serve and share their life experiences, right? Their expertise at times, but then their life experiences. For those of you out there that are looking to do something different in your life, and maybe you're limited with the conversation you have about yourself, with yourself, right? And that's holding you back. And yeah, thank you for copping in and saying good morning. Just a couple of things I almost forgot all about, making sure that everybody knows that we want this to be a conversation, a two-way street. And the only way we can do that virtually is blow up the chat, come in, let us know where you're from, let us know how you resonate or how we resonate with you with our messaging, if there's something else that you want to hear. And more importantly, show our speakers some love, right? I mean, they're taking their time out, oftentimes very super busy people that, but again, are committed to giving you something that you can walk away from today that can help change your perspective, help make a little twist, a little different movement in your life and your journey, right? And so, hey, look, I got to always give you something to think about here. And as we get ready to bring our speaker on, people would say, man, Geoff, I hear you, man. You talk about conversations and I don't know what to do first. And it made me think about something I want to share with you today. And I'll share it through a story, right? I mean, kind of just imagine it's all here, all over the world. We're all together and we're talking today. We're getting ready to have a conversation. We're going to bring up some subject matter that you may or may not understand or agree with, but we're all just here, in this beautiful, comfortable chair. You guys see the big red chair out there, right? We're sitting around and we're all just, comfortable. There's soft music playing, a little water in the background, and all the world noise is quiet. So all we hear is the voices in our own head. So my question to you is, what is that voice saying to you? Is it in the room with all the calm and the peace and the love and the unity, or is it distracted by things that are going on? And so being aware of that noise that goes on in your head is our whole message. And our mission is to empower, encourage, and inspire people to become aware of the power, the effect of the conversation you're having with yourself about yourself, and some simple nuggets that you can do to change it, right? Because our energy goes, right? I mean, our energy, I got to just share a little. I was at the airport or something, and somebody just brushed by me, and I was enjoying my day, right? Because I went to my 45th high school class year reunion this past weekend. I know I'm getting off the subject, but stay with me, right? Because I think it's relevant to what we're talking about. Good morning to everybody that's coming in. Hey, I appreciate you saying hi. Just the person that checked us in, got us on the plane, I felt like he was a little rude to me. And from at that moment, I could feel my attitude shifting. I remember I hadn't seen some of these people for 45 years. And my brother's there, and my family, and my sister and her family. So we had a chance to reunionize with family and friends. And all that went away for just a second, right? So it can happen at any time. But I know that if I didn't stop, I didn't want to ruin the day. So anyway, being aware of it and making a difference, we all can do that. We all have control, all right? So anyway, let me get to introduce our speaker coming up. She's originally from Seattle, Washington, graduate from high school out there, went to Bowman College. And man, I always talk about life either happening to you or life happening for you. And in her message, you're going to see how life happening and her health issues, which kind of led her to getting a degree in holistic nutritional consulting, right? And it led her to really focusing on how she could better improve her own health, in addition to the advice from the doctors and in their direction. But she took it in her own hands to figure out how she could eat better, how she could live better, how she can share this message, right? And look, she went from that to, this introverted person to being a superstar on podcast. And I want to make sure I have it right. Let me tell you, with Lady T, talk show host. Right now, she's going from that to being picked up on the radio station, became a radio host and media personality for the show. And I did mention she claims to be an introvert. That's what she says in this information, right? So I just bring all these things up because, there's someone else out there on this message that are listening to this conversation with Geoff, and you probably be feeling the same way. I want you to know that there's no better time than now for everybody on here to step into your greatness. Listen to what this young lady's journey was, right? So I'm gonna make sure, and yes, she is of the vegan perspective, so we won't beat her up too bad. Those of us that still like cookies and cakes, right? Because I forgot when I was setting the ambiance in that big room, right? When the water was running, there was also some cookies in the background. You could smell them being baked. Well, those of us that still love cookies, I had to go there, right? Anyway, so listen, let me just be quiet. And she became a series. She also has a series called The Traveling Vegan. Ladies and gentlemen, if you could all set up, put the phones down, get ready to just hang out with us for just a little while. Let me introduce you, coming to you live, Ms. Terrelya Hoskins. All right, there we go. Let me figure this one out. Hey. I couldn't help myself.
First off, I do eat vegan, but I do not call myself a vegan.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
And so even though I do eat vegan, it's actually for medical purposes. That's why technically I'm not called a vegan.
Gotcha.
They have all these labels and stuff.
Yeah.
I eat, no, you're plant-based, whatever. And I'm just like, oh, I eat what I eat, whatever label it is. But my daughter is not vegan, so I still cook for her.
Okay. Well, so that's, we love you either way.
Yeah. No, I'm actually forced to eat this way.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not one of those things where I'm just one of those judgmental, you ate a pork chop?
I know it's always the pork first, isn't it? It's barbecue.
You know what? Of all the things, I'm just like, hey, listen, can you just get rid of the pork? Do me that one favor.
Oh, man. Wow. Lamb chops are good. Get rid of the pork. So, hey,
that's what you want to eat.
So tell us about that then. You mentioned that it's more, and I think you shared in your information to us that it's more about almost a requirement for you and your health issues that you need that.
Yeah. One day, my body just decided that it just cannot digest animal anymore. Like it just can't. It would literally, like, my stomach basically stopped digesting. It basically just stopped. So anything that is like too tough for it or too high in I guess unhealthy fat, I guess. Honestly, this is all undiagnosed by doctor. None of this is. No, the doctors have not helped me on this. I basically had to figure it out on my own. Yeah. So I can't digest meat. The only thing I can technically digest is salmon.
Okay.
That's the only thing. Maybe cod.
Okay.
I don't know.
Now, do you have to eat that without any seasoning on it, or can you eat it?
I'm sorry, what?
Can you eat it with seasoning on it, or do you have to eat it pretty raw?
Very, very good question. I can eat any seasoning, or use any seasoning, but in the beginning I could not. Yeah, if it was high, it was like too spicy. Even black pepper, I couldn't do that, which was devastating because I love black pepper on everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but who knew that was one of the igniters? But yeah, I can do it now.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And from that, you kind of decided, man, I can help other people with my own mess. Mm-hmm. And so what were some of the things that you kind of battled with when you first started, in terms of maybe your confidence or your desire to fight back the roadblocks and the mental blocks that come up from starting something new?
There are a couple of things that kind of stand out, and that is the first thing is, and I just discovered a big, huge black moth on my closet door. um,
Run.
yeah, it's okay. The first thing I discovered the first challenge really is because I'm, like you said in the beginning, I saw you introduce, I am introverted. Or at least I was. I still consider myself introverted, but it goes into the first challenge, and that is not being so insecure about, feeling like I won't be heard. It's, I didn't think that, I was more concerned about, I'm not exactly an Instagram model, so who's gonna listen to me, and stuff like that. But then, I come to find that, it's like, who cares? I have something to say, and you can receive the information or you cannot. And if you're more interested in what I look like versus what I have to say as important, then that's on you. The other challenge is when the second challenge is. Actually, I just thought of a third one, but I'll go with the second one. The second challenge is, I have high empathy, I'm a high empath, and it really hurts me most of the time to see people suffering. And it's like, why? But they refuse to make the changes necessary to relieve themselves of the suffering. And when you're sitting where I'm sitting and you realize how much food really controls the brain to a point to where people are willing to live through diabetes, live through hypertension, live through gout, live through severe acid reflux because they just won't simply put down the fried foods. Yeah. That's another challenge because you have to, as a holistic nutritionist, we have to practice some sort of because if you push too hard, you can drive people away or turn people off from wanting to make the change, completely. So all you could do is just say, hey, listen, it's the fried foods, it's the processed sugars, and it may or may not be dairy.
Sure.
And then just keep it at that, instead of trying to beat the point down.
That's right.
And then the third one in the beginning, real quick, really is that I actually do have a real estate investment background. That's how you and I met, actually. Yep. I kind of put real estate as the back seat to put this in the forefront. And now it's getting back into the groove of real estate, even though it never really stopped. But it's trying to do this, but then also be in the real estate industry at the same time. And right now, the real estate industry is kind of finicky. And with the feds hiking up the interest rates and stuff, I know we just took a total, turn in conversation here. But right now, the market where I'm at is totally cooled down. It's probably number one cooled down markets in the nation at the moment. Mm-hmm. It's like people are still buying, but it's like time just stood still. But so those are the three challenges. Sorry, that was such a long answer.
So that's fine. I wanted to back you up just a second on your second challenge. Mm-hmm. When you talked about the fried foods, and we always say when we start talking about in and around eating, it's about not so much what you eat, it's about what's eating you. Mm-hmm. Do you spend some time getting into that also?
Yeah, that's like the main focus. Whenever say friend of mine or something like that, she's like, I'm so stressed out. I got something going on here and I'm just so upset. I'm just going to go ahead and get me some comfort food. And I'm just like, okay, sis, just so you know, though, whether it's cookies, donuts, cake, whatever it is that you tend to run to whenever you're stressed out, I say, hey, listen, if you're running to something because you're stressed out, chances are that's what's causing you to stress out. Yeah, because there's something, especially in processed sugar, that goes to the brain that tells you to run to something whenever you're having a bad day. Yeah. And so if you're running to ice cream, every single time just to soothe your soul, whether it's a bad breakup or, you know, you're having a hard day at work, whatever it is, you just got fired. Who knows? If you're running to that very same, that donut every single time you're stressed out or you have anxiety or something like that, then that chances are that's what's causing it.
Yeah.
And that's the challenge. So when people are like, oh, how do you get rid of your sugar craving? You don't. You don't. You just don't eat it. Just because you have the craving doesn't mean you have to, you know, fulfill it. So, but anyway.
Yeah, no, and you mentioned also the power in the word "I'm stressed out." That triggers it. You know, I mean, what we say, we respond to, right? And so going back and being aware of that, people that are out there listening, and me included, you know, I try never to, you know, set myself up verbally by anything other than, you know, I realize that I'm not feeling good. I know I have an option, you know, and hopefully I choose the right option, you know, because it's really crazy. But now you said something else, and I'm going all the way back to the first one, and I think maybe it touched on what we talked about before we came up. You know, when you were talking about being an introvert and the media, right? And this subject, the question I'm going to ask you is really one that I think needs to be asked, and so people that hear this can understand more about just what's happening in the mind of the individual and how society has created the image, you know, and because you made it clear that, you know, you were a little uncomfortable being a dark-skinned female with a natural look and being looked at as maybe not as valuable or not have as much of an impact. And I have to say, as a person of color too, we bring this subject up because these are realities that happen and have been created over time, you know, from all the way back when we originally got here to what media projects. And so we're bringing it up today because you're doing it, you know, and I always, my daughter is of your complexion, and she, to me, is a Nubian queen. And our granddaughter is the same. So tell me, you know, I'm going to be quiet. Can you share anything around that, please?
I've never really been comfortable in front of the camera for as long as I can remember. I don't really consider myself to be photogenic per se, but I've always been very self-conscious of being in front of the camera, whether it be on a photo or a video. And the reason is because, you know, I just don't, being in the media, you know, industry, when I'm on my radio show, it's all audio, it's not video yet. But the reason is because I don't feel comfortable in front of the camera. And the reason is because, you know, it's being made kind of clear that you have to, no disrespect, kind of Barbie yourself up a little bit. And I've never liked makeup. I'll put it on every once in a while. But why do I have to put 10 pounds of makeup on my face, which is not good for my skin anyway, just to make an impression on camera? Why do I have to put on a front lace wig in order for me to look kind of European-ish as possible in order to be presentable on camera? What's wrong with my two-strand twist? What's wrong with my fro? Why do I have to put on lipstick? Why do I have to put on a dress? I mean, even though I'm technically kind of wearing one now, but it actually has Bob Marley on it. Why? Like, why do I have to do certain things to impress the audience when I want to talk about sports?
Yeah.
Like, if we're talking about sports, or if we're talking about how to eat better or real estate, why do I have to dress up? You know, I mean, I'm not saying go on looking like a bum, but why do I have to like look like I'm about to go to the prom in order to have something to say? That makes no sense to me. And then you also got the narrative that, you know, darker skinned sisters don't, you know, and men too, don't really get much of a shot. Thank you, Facebook user. Just be you. Exactly. What's wrong with just presenting your, yourself? As long as you're not out here with, brown teeth, as long as you're looking decent, what does it matter? And that was what, but that was, I was told so long that you had to be a certain way and look a certain way, and act a certain way, in order for you to be in front of the camera. And I said, well, then I just won't be in front of the camera.
Yeah, and a lot of people say that and feel that way. And why I wanted to bring it up again is just because, just to let people know that, hey, that it still can be done. You still show up. You're an example for others that do that. And it's funny we're talking about that, because one of the things I made a note of, I always like to kind of give them a message at the end is stop feeling insignificant. And creating those things in and around our head and that. So, but I appreciate you allowing me to bring it up. I think it's important, that we, like the Facebook user just said, just be you, be comfortable being you, be the best you, right? Be the best you. Let the world see the best you. Let the world see that radiant smile that you bring to that. And I have to just say this because I'm a little silly, but from a male perspective, please, ladies, keep wearing a dress, especially my wife. Keep wearing a dress.
I mean, okay, don't get it wrong. I'm not saying let me make things clear. Because as you can see, I'm actually wearing one.
Yeah.
Let me make things clear. I'm not saying I'm not talking about a dress. I'm talking about, why do I have to look like I'm about to go to the prom all the time in order to just be on TV? Why can't I just wear something relaxed like this? I mean, technically, this is kind of sort of what you consider a political statement, so I wouldn't necessarily put this on TV. But I love sundresses.
Yeah.
I love, I'm pretty feminine, but why do I have to be a size 2? Like, why do I, don't get it wrong. I mean, I lost a ton of weight, but it's like, why do I have to look like Barbie? I don't know how else to put it without sounding, judgmental,
Well, I mean, I think it's important that it's a question that not only you have, but others have, I mean, the little, I have a granddaughter, right? She's too skinny now because all the kids tell her she's too skinny, or she's a certain.
What is up with that?
Well, I just, it's the conditions that kids are still kids. That, that maybe, they still have a way of treating each other, and then it's that whole image of being, that perfect looking person. And
that has me really concerned, actually. Now that you bring it up, we're living in a society where now it's all about the big butts, big thighs and all that stuff. And it's gotten to a point where particularly our people, where they're going to Dominican Republic and they're going to places like Colombia, Mexico, wherever, to get these surgeries done. And it's really putting our communities at risk. The things that we're doing to our bodies just to obtain a certain look, it's got me really concerned and ultimately really confused, actually, because I don't quite get it. I don't have a big butt or anything like that. I lost a ton of weight, so I kind of, lost a little junk in a trunk or whatever, but it's mine,
Yeah.
And, it really, the question that I really want to ultimately ask, particularly to women, because they're still coming up to me saying, how do I gain weight? And to my naked eye, I'm like, you look fine. I don't understand. But if you're so adamant, okay, let's see, avocados, potatoes, beans, lentils, and if you were talking about, or quinoa, and if you want to talk about the non-vegan way, go on ahead and eat you some fish, eat you some chicken, get you some, like, anything that's kind of pasta, anything that's kind of starchy that goes straight to the bottom. Go ahead and eat that and do some squats, do some uphill walking, hiking, whatever you want to call it. That's going to build some muscle down there. I mean, you see these track star runners, they be having some nice little badunkadunks. That's because they, so, and after that, they're just like, no. I'm like, well, then why'd you ask? No, they just want the instant gratification. We're living in the microwave world. And it's really got me concerned, because the first thing I want to ask when people say, how do I do this? How do I gain weight? And I'm like, the first thing I'm asking is, who told you you had to gain weight?
Yeah.
Like, where are we getting this perception that we have to be a certain way other than what we're designed to be? So where are my ladies getting this idea that they have to enhance something that's not designed to be there? Because the body is not designed for anything foreign or anything that it isn't naturally supposed to be there. It's designed to reject it. And that's why you're starting to see all of these reports of women having their lives almost be on the line because of the surgeries, or dying. So I'm like, who is telling us that it's not okay to be who you just are, like who you are? Like, where are we getting this from? So anyways, I just wanted to, for your niece who is quote unquote, why is she too skinny all of a sudden? Do you have any idea how many women are actually wanting to be her, but they keep telling her she's too skinny, right? Because in the back, like, this is something that needs to be said. If you're making fun of someone because they're too skinny, then sometimes that low key is like low key jealousy.
Yeah.
They don't want her to be too skinny because she might attract some dudes. So let's go ahead and tell her she's too skinny so she could scarf down the pizzas and the cheeseburgers, so that way she can go ahead and gain some weight, putting her health on the line, by the way. So that way she's not, competition. Yeah. So I'm speaking as a woman here. I'm just going to go out and say it.
Yeah, no, you're right. And if she doesn't choose to eat those things, her mindset's going to tell herself that. So there's no confidence there.
See?
So, it's the same impact, same result. Mm-hmm. So it's really very delicate subject, and I'm glad we're talking about it, and because we know that marketing is what it is. It's designed to sell. It's designed to create, the impact that it's having on us. But it's good and refreshing to hear from your perspective that, hey, you know what? You are good enough just how you are.
Yeah, you are. You really are. And that's what my goal is, being in this media industry, is I want to be the person who does not mold into that, you have to be a certain way or look a certain way in order to penetrate this market. I want to be the crusader in that. And I may not be an Oprah, but, I want to be, further along enough to make that point.
Yeah. And you're doing that. And you're also, I'm looking here at some notes I've made on you. And for those of you out there that are wanting to do some things that she may be doing, and you've been talking yourself out of it, you may also have made a note in here that you're not that techie person at all. And here you are in front of the camera and you're doing, radio shows and all that, right? I mean, so this, share some love about those that feel like they have to be techie or have to be whatever.
Ooh, I was not a techie person at all. I wanted nothing to do with anything tech. I just wanted, how do I turn it on? Okay. Yeah. You get to a point where, not that I'm trying to be a cheapskate or anything like that, but, it's good to know. I pretty much taught myself how to build my own websites, use the University of YouTube and Dr. Google to figure out how to build my own websites. I've learned how to edit my own videos and, how to, piece together cut scenes and all that stuff. And And it's a lot more empowering. So even if I decide to designate those duties to somebody else, I still know how to do it in case they leave for whatever reason. You don't want to be stuck and that's actually what happened to me. I had somebody else that was building and, running my website, and then they just decided to disappear for whatever reason. And that left me stuck, having to figure things out. And I was just like, oh, hell no. So I just decided to learn how to do it myself. So even if I decide to designate, all the techie stuff to somebody else, if they decide to up and leave, I'm not sitting over here just like, oh, my land, So that's pretty much why I decided to, teach myself how to, become more techie, try to learn a little bit more behind the scenes work and all that stuff. So that way I'm not stuck.
Yeah. Well, that's why I brought it up, because I talk to people all the time, man, I would really love to be able to do blah, 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 but I don't understand how to turn on a computer. Well, you hit the on button.
You hit the on button, it's right there. It actually says power on, off. Like I sound like my dad right now.
I'm one of those people years ago, so I can say that about him, right? So it's how we see ourselves, it's what excuses we make, to kind of keep us limited to our own space, and we don't even aware of. So as we kind of keeping an eye on the time here, and so tell me, what is it that really, at this point in your life, I know you're doing the TV radio show, and you have your group session. Tell us about your. Let me make sure I say it right. Let me tell you, with Lady T. How can people find that? If I'm not saying it right, that's what I have in the notes.
Let me tell you, with Lady T.
Yeah.
So you can find that on Spotify. You can also find it on my website, actually, because I made a website. Let me tell you, with ladyt.com, LETMETTELLYAWITHLADYT. So I made a whole website just for that. See, that's why I taught myself how to build my own website, so that way I can do whatever I want.
Right. That's right.
Yeah. So I made the show into a website, so that way people can go on there and they can listen to my past shows. I'm also on YouTube. Let me tell you, with Lady T. Or actually, no, I put my shows on multiple different. So I have it on my personal page. I started putting it on there because people started finding me there. Terrelya Hoskins, and then I mainly put my shows on the Farming Nutritionist because I didn't feel like creating a whole new page for all that. But the main place I like to tell people to go is Let Me Tell You with Lady T, because then it actually takes you to the multiple platforms that you can listen it on, which is iHeart, Spotify, Anchor. I feel like I'm missing one. I also post my shows on Instagram, but I usually post the short video forms. So the best bet really is to go on either Anchor, Spotify, and iHeart Radio.
Okay, and so you're also having a membership launch with the introductory discount. Where is that, and what is that?
That one's on the Farming Nutritionist. Yeah, so farmingnutritionist.com. So what that is I actually am a holistic nutritionist, as you guys know. Thank you, whoever put that there. So I just recently, remember, techie stuff.
Yeah.
I was having a hard time figuring out how to launch those memberships. Figured it out, and then I finally launched them at the very last end of August. And I'm introducing them with a 25% discount. I'm not telling people when that's going to end. So what it is, and I need to make some adjustments to my memberships on my website, is instead of just scheduling the one-on-one consultation with me, just, doing everything so a la carte, I decided to launch a membership because that way people can just kind of have access to me at a huge discount.
Yeah.
Instead of, just paying a lofty introductory fee and then just paying per. Now they have a monthly membership, and I actually introduced it at $25, anywhere between $25 to, I believe, $175. And that is access to one-on-one consultations, classes, depending on your membership, exclusive blogs, information, grocery shopping assistance, meal planning, the whole nine. Like, depends on your membership what all you get in it. And I'm only going to add more to it as we go. But yeah, those memberships basically give you access to me in terms of like health and nutrition, getting, a wealth of knowledge that, and I did it this way because for a few months now, I've been kind of giving information away for free. Right. And then I realized that I'm not doing my clients a disservice. I'm doing my clients a disservice. It's really not fair for me to just up and give this information that they're paying for. So I've decided to start telling people, hey, listen, you're going to have a membership now. To do this. Did I answer the question?
You did, and I think I see some in the chat, and most importantly is that you're willing to show up and give your knowledge away, and people pay attention when they pay, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
I think it's important that we learn to invest in ourselves. Mm-hmm. So if not you or me or someone else, make sure that we get the guidance we need and get that bridge, so that we're not spending decades of time losing money on things that we can invest with people that can shorten that learning curve. Mm-hmm. And so people, I like that comment too, Jackie, about I love YouTube University and Dr. Google.
Yeah.
So, and for those of you that are coming in Facebook, if you could let me know, drop your name in there too, because all I see is Facebook users, and we really appreciate you folks hanging in there with us and letting us kind of just talk your ear off a little bit. But I want to ask you a question, and you've answered most of the things here, so I'm looking at my notes here. What is it that you can? I always ask folks that are in the space that I think is important when it's about healthy eating, and what tip can you leave us? Something simple that we could go away today. Someone hearing this later on tonight or tomorrow or next year, they could hear that, and right away they can make a simple change in their thinking and eating, and start to walk towards a better way of living.
I'm glad you asked that question, because there's about 5 things that popped in my head, so I'll try to make it short and sweet.
Okay.
That's not going to be possible. Sorry. I actually just did my own little. I'm doing like 4 mini commercials. Okay. For my 4 niches. My 4 niches are women's health, mental health, how to lose weight and gain weight, because some people want to gain muscle, all that. Mm-hmm. And then the 4th thing, of course, is vegan plant-based eating, because a lot of people are wanting to eat more vegan or more plant-based. They just don't know how. I certainly didn't. I had to force myself to learn how to do it, because I don't know how to cook no plant-based. Luckily, I have a non-vegan daughter, and a lot of people think that that's. I'm sorry, I'm going off to. A lot of people seem to think that that's a disadvantage. And I'm like, no, that's a huge advantage. The fact that she's not vegan actually helps me as somebody that eats vegan, because she's my guinea pig. Yeah. Well, if I fix something and I'm like, hey, try this, and she's like, wow, that's fire. But in the beginning, she was like, she was trying to be so respectful. I love her so much, but she was just like, oh yeah, mom, this is fire. Right. Until one day I was like, I'm giving you permission to tell the truth. Like, but I don't want to hurt you. I'm like, you're not. Trust me. I'm giving you permission to tell me the truth. Yes. Mom, there's no flavor. I'm like, okay, thank you for letting me know, because I was wondering if it was just me.
That's the biggest question people have is it doesn't taste good, right?
Please let me know, as someone who's non-vegan, because the whole purpose is to get people to eat more vegan. But anyways, back to your question. I'm doing 4. I just did 2 yesterday, where I did one on eating more plant-based or vegan in women's health. And the takeaway that I want people to understand is I'm seeing a lot of YOLOs out there. You only live once, so you might as well just go ahead and eat what you love and all that stuff. That's the main pushback that makes me want to, get my head to hit the brick wall a million times over. Because I'm like, no doubt. I'm not saying that I don't enjoy myself a plant-based pizza or some plant-based cookies. I just made myself some vegan pound cake. Yeah. I know how to make anything vegan, and you can't tell.
Get out of here.
I'm not kidding. I actually took some to my grandma. Didn't tell her it was plant-based. Because that's the main test. That it's her recipe, and I just turned it vegan. I still know how to do the original pound cake, but I wanted to see if it worked, right?
Yeah.
She ate it, and I was just like, "How is it, Granny?" And she was like, "Put some lemon slices on top." Now I was just like, "Yeah, but how is the cake?"
Yeah.
She was like, "Oh, it's good." And I'm like, "Yes, I've arrived." So anyway, I'm not saying don't enjoy foods. What I'm saying is you don't want to end up like me. I'm like the least worst case in scenario. I got lucky. The thing that I want to let people know is it's not a matter of if, but when and what. I'm not trying to scare people. What I'm saying is this is not sustainable eating. Like the way that we're eating is not sustainable. And it's only getting worse and worse. And it's because of what they're putting in our foods. Let's just be frank.
That's right.
I told people if I was not living in this country, I would not be vegan. But we are here. And as a result of the amount of stuff that's being put in our food, people got to be a little bit more aware that this whole idea of YOLO, I keep looking at that moth, like, don't go anywhere. I got you. This whole idea of YOLO, hey, you only live once, so I might as well go on ahead and eat that brisket. I might as well go on ahead and eat those pork chops. I might as well go on ahead and eat those chitlins. I say to people when they say that to me, or I want to say, but mostly I just keep my mouth shut. And that is, you just told me about how your feet are swollen, feel like you're walking on water. You have insane back pain, you get headaches, you get night sweats, and you're eating the very foods that's causing you insurmountable. Like, I'll put it to like this. My grandma, and I hate to put her out there like this, but she does have dementia. And she is insistent on continuing to eat fried chicken, ice cream. She knows she's lactose intolerant, and all the stuff that you really should not be. She didn't eat no vegetables, and it's really. She looked at me with a cute straight face and said, I continue to eat like this so I won't be miserable. I said, oh, Grandma, I love you so much, but you complain about being miserable every day.
Yeah.
She wakes up sick all the time. She doesn't feel good. And her eating has led to her now having dementia. A lot of people don't realize that food is like a huge percentile reason on mental health.
Yeah.
It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when and what.
Yeah.
You can continue to eat like this. That's fine. YOLO. But what is it going to turn into and when?
Yeah.
So I don't know if I was rambling all around the place, but
you brought it home. You landed the plane,
mm-hmm.
And all the things you shared were real things that are happening in people's lives. And Grandma, bless her heart. I hope.
Love you, Granny.
Yeah. We were speaking to her out of love and not judgment, right? And so
she refuses to listen to the doctor. Even the doctor is like, you're it's because of what you're eating. Yeah. No, it's because of air circulation on my leg. I'm like, okay. Yes, ma'am.
Well, you mentioned, some things, and it's about habits and conditions and letting go and making changes.
Mm-hmm.
That's what our whole point is that it can be done, little by little. So we really appreciate the time that you've taken out today, man. We got to kind of wind it down now, but it's been a pleasure finally connecting with you. It's been a minute.
I know. We've been trying to coordinate this for months now.
Yeah. So we really appreciate your time and your information, and hopefully everybody that hears this now or later, make sure you like, subscribe, and share this message, and follow up with her. Her information is in the chat on how you can get with her. And remember, I wrote it down. It's a matter of what you say. It's a matter of when, not what, or what, when. The 2 W's.
It's not a matter of if. It's a matter of what and when.
What and when. Thank you. It's a matter of if.
You're welcome, Facebook user.
So I really want to say thank you again, and keep bringing that beautiful smile to the camera. Keep killing it on the radio. I'm going to get on there and check it out myself. Mm-hmm. And boy, you take care of yourself. And until we meet again.
Thank you for having me on the show, Geoff.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. It's been a pleasure. All right, we'll talk to you soon. See you.
Bye, everybody.
Hey. Thanks everybody for hanging in there with us today. And Terrelya was really just keeping it real. I mean, that's what I love about her. She, there's no fake there. It's all about what's coming straight from her heart, right? And Granny, we love you. I hope you know that. She spoke to you about you out of love. So as always, as we wrap up and say good day to you all, I want to thank everybody that's here right now, and thank you for already subscribing and sharing this message to those that you care about, and then dropping some love in here about our speaker today, and let her know how she resonated. And then my information is in the chat on all the things that you can reach out to me about. And as a real estate investor, I'm still known as the king of rehabs, and we've got some really cool things going on in that platform. So if you know anybody out there that's wanting to get involved in real estate and not sure where to start, they have the willingness to do the work, right? You got to be willing to do the work and follow direction, and being willing to invest in themselves are all key important components. And also then, if you know someone similar to our guest today that has a message around health and community and making people more aware of the things that we go through as people of color, or anyone. It doesn't have to be just that, right? I mean, we're a universal platform here, and we do not discriminate. I can't say that enough. But I mentioned earlier that my high school reunion that I went to 45 year, it was predominantly white school, but we all got along even back then when it was crazy times. So I want to say, as I wrap up, and I said it earlier, I'm going to say it again, we don't have to feel insignificant when we look in the mirror, right? Stop feeling insignificant. And how do you stop doing that? By telling you the message that you're telling yourself. Remember how we started in that big, nice room and the big, comfortable chairs, right? And the water running and the whistling, just cool, calm environment, and the aroma of cookies. Yes, the aroma of cookies in the background. We can set our stage one way or the other. Today, I hope you choose to be significant. Today, I hope you choose to make a difference in your world. Today, I hope you choose to turn off the TV, turn off the news, invest in yourself, make a difference in your world, and come back and see us again. We appreciate it. Welcome everybody that's new, and we'll talk to you again. Take care.